What's up, guys? Johnny Tacos here with another exciting and informative episode of the Johnny Taco Show. We have Exoneration here. We have Corey, one of the dynamic duel, here to talk about the band and give a little bit of a testimony and just have a great time. But before we get to the band, just want to let you know that we have some exciting news that are coming to a mist. I'm pretty excited about it. It's going to be concerts, it's going to be open mics, possible a new sponsor for the show, a new direction, the way the show's going to be aired. Hopefully, it get us some more followers to help out with the show because the show is costly, and with your support and with the uh, the support of you know of following, of subscribing, of doing all these things to help boost the show up, we can get to that point where we're able to go and reach a further broad of people. So I'm pretty excited about everything that's coming up. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be great. It's going to be better than all that, because God is working in the details. So he's getting everything set up in this goulash I call a show. And if you don't know what goulash is, then, you don't really hang out with me as much. But, um, but the Johnny Taco Show is, is going on the fourth year strong. So just keep in touch, keep with the social media, YouTube, and even the show for more updates that are coming up. If you want to get to know Finding Hope Music Festival, which is that fest that I love to go to. We had Disciple here for a couple of years. We have a new concert coming out. I have to be tight-lipped about it because it's not set in stone and we're still getting iron out everything, but it will be in the fall time, the ending of summer, fall for that festival. It's going to be an awesome show. The groups that Stephanie told me from Finding Hopes that it's going to be a little different than what us metalheads are used to. So I'm pretty excited about it. It's a new step. It's going to be a fun step. It's going to be exciting. You get to see Johnny Tacos over there, take selfies and all that good stuff. So, yeah, just look forward to keeping up with Finding Hope Music Festival.org or check them out on their social medias. All right. Excuse me. The spring to summer kind of thing has really destroyed my voice. So I'm going to try to muster through it for the fans, for the listeners, for the peeps. And today I have Corey. He's all the way in Arkansas. You know how some people read it, but Arkansas. Um, he's got an awesome metalcore band that is international because he is the representative of the great USA. Here he is, Mr. Corey. Hey,
Hey,
Corey.
hey, how's it going?
Hey, I'm doing great, buddy. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks so much for having me.
Well, thank you for being on the show. All right, the pleasantries are out. Now let's get into the business. So, how long have you been in this band? Now, tell us a little something about your musical background.
Yes, so I have been playing guitar for about 15 years. I've played, I play a lot in church. I always really dreamed of having like my own like band, and then it never really came to fruition. And so I kind of accepted that and then just started making music solo. I put out my first instrumental stuff around 2020. And then I had been writing some and trying to learn how to do some like harsh vocals, and it wasn't really getting to where I wanted it to be. And so I started posting around Facebook groups and asking for a vocalist, and I had a bunch of people apply, and Arnaud ended up, our vocalist joined, and um, that's kind of where we got how this formed was just Facebook posting. But I've been playing music for a long time. I'll play anything but country.
And you're from Arkansas, and you're thinking
Yes,
everybody listens to country in Arkansas
exactly.
or
There's
that
not
rap music.
Yeah, there's not a lot of metalheads around here.
Well, you got to go up to Little Rock area. There's more
You
of a
do.
metal
There's a
scene.
lot more around that area. There in Fayetteville, it seems to be a lot more alive. But I had to search overseas to find my vocalist.
Hey, and it sounds awesome. You know,
Well,
it
thank you
is.
so much.
We live in a world where we have that technology to bridge the gaps. You know, have an awesome vocalist overseas, and then you do all the technical, instrumental guru kind of stuff, and they have a way to make it sound like you're in the same room, which is pretty awesome. We're blessed
It's
to have that.
it's worked out really well. I write everything. I wrote pretty much all the instrumentation, and then I did a good portion of the lyrics. Arnold contributed to some, and then we had some outside help on one song, which we'll probably get into later. Um, but I would send him everything, and then through Google Drive, and then he would send me back his files, and then I would mix them together. And he has such a way of taking the lyrics that I've written and making them flow really well, because I never really thought of myself as much of a lyricist, but he makes them sound so alive, and it's so exciting.
And where's he from?
The Netherlands.
So, and the Netherlands uh, are really versed in the kind of metal genre, like
Yes, that
black
whole area
metal,
definitely is.
and you have some really great and talented people from the Netherlands that do that kind of vocal.
Yes, yes. So he actually, yeah, he does vocals for us, but he's got his own band over there, Receiving Immortality. Definitely go check them out. They're awesome. But he plays guitar for them, so he's a very well versed musician.
Okay, so he has other projects there, and do you have any other projects?
Other than church, I mean, not at this time. I kind of want to get like a shoegaze group together at some point. Um, but I am trying to get some live members here. I've got a couple guys that I've been playing with a little bit here to get live shows started. Um, I've got a bunch of stuff going on the personal side that is delaying that a little bit, but I'm hoping around the fall that we'll really be able to start finding, you know, start doing shows. We're gonna hopefully find a fill-in vocalist to do live shows, but then the dream is to get Arnaud over here at some point so we can do some big show together. Because I mean, it would be amazing. Because I mean, I couldn't have done this without him.
Yeah, and it's hard because travel is so expensive
Oh,
now.
it is, and everybody's got personal obligations to fill, whether that's family or work or otherwise. I mean, so it's hard. It's hard enough as an adult to like get all your friends together to hang out, let alone get somebody in from the other side of the world.
Yeah, and he knows about that you're trying to create a live band.
Yes, yes, we've talked a little bit about trying to figure out a way to get him over here, but no, he's aware that we're trying to get something together live for the time being to help grow the project.
Yeah, and you're doing a great job right now. You're going out there, you're promoting your band, uh, doing everything it takes because you do have, like I said, we live in this world where everything is at our fingertips. We can literally uh, promote, advertise everything with a couple of clicks on the mouse, you know.
Absolutely.
Um, so with this, what are some of the bands that you kind of look up to
Oh
get you
yes.
into metalcore?
So in metalcore, I'll step before I got into metalcore, like I was like, I was introduced to like 80s rock from my parents, and then my dad showed me like Metallica and Alice in Chains, and then from there I discovered Skillet, and that was like the first CD I ever bought. And then I saw Red at Winter Jam, and that blew my mind. And so then Wolves at the Gate was the band that got me into metalcore. Specifically their song Heralds off their first EP. That song just changed my life. And then I give huge props to Radio U. They had a ton of like, they had a TV station, TVU, and they had so many different bands that I was able to discover that really shaped my taste in music. As of late, so a lot of the bands that helped inspire this project are Holy Name, For Today, and then on like the secular side, Invent Animate and Viljarda are huge for my taste in music. Killswitch Engage, August Burns Red. Lately, I've been into excuse me, Convictions has been on my rotation quite a bit. Demon Hunter, um, Haste the Day is a big one for me as well.
So with all these awesome bands that you name that kind of set the foundation for your band, did you like grab your band and kind of sharpen that art to go towards to make it a little different but the same?
A little bit. So I mean, some of the songs I started writing, like I had pieces of them 7 years ago, like around 7 years ago, 5 years ago, that were before I got into some of these bands. But then, like Villarda, I wasn't really into them when I started writing some of the music, but then I've discovered them, and they help shape some of what's there. But a big part of it, I didn't want to write exactly what everybody else was writing. I don't think I know how. Um, I've always felt like the music I make is a little odd, and I feel like that's helped, I guess. But yeah, I definitely had some of the influence there that I'm like, I want to take the sound that some of these bands are doing, but make it my own.
Yeah, because you want to be in that genre, but you want to be original.
Oh, for sure, because it's so easy in the metal space to sound just like everybody else. Like it's incredibly easy to do.
Yeah, and people go into that as a safe space.
They do.
Well, I want to sound like we'll say Mudvayne because
Right.
everybody loves Mudvayne. They love the music. So I'm gonna just sound just like them and become a clone. But then you get lost in there and there's no way for anybody to really tell, oh well, who was that band? Uh
Right.
was that Mudvayne? No, that was just some other band. Well, who it is? It's like back in the emo time where all the bands pretty much sound the same. It's just it doesn't give you time to fully open up your creative juices
For
and let them
sure.
flow.
On the other end of that, especially in like the early 2000s when Tooth and Nail came around, they were like, the clean alternative for a lot of these other bands. And so parents were okay with their kids listening to the Tooth and Nail bands because they were the safe alternative. As much as I love all the Tooth and Nail stuff, with Exoneration, I don't want people to be like, oh, they're the Christian Villarda or something, which I'm not comparing myself to them because they're geniuses, but like, um, I don't want people to be like, oh, they're the Christian version of such and such. I want people to be like, exoneration is exoneration, like that. They're their own thing, and that's kind of the goal.
And your goal is out there is not to be just classified as Christian. You want to go out there to play the secular to actually push out the word because I've seen so many bands out there that will go out to the secular life but still have that Christian, still be labeled as a Christian band, but could be kind of what is that word?
I
Vers
definitely want to. Yes, I want to transcend it, but I will say some of the songs on our upcoming album are very explicitly Christian. Like when I started writing, some of it was just very, very overt in the faith, and I was like, I don't know if this will resonate with people. But then I started looking at bands like Holy Name and For Today, and I'm like, those guys are so upfront about their faith, and I think it sounds so good. And if they do it, I can do it too.
yeah.
But then there are other songs like Basilisk, which is less. It's more implicitly Christian. So the album Monuments to Nothing, it comes out in August 29th. It's not quite a concept album, but it gets close. Um, so the overall theme with it is that nothing in this world satisfies except for Christ. And most of the songs have to do with different things that people try to fill their soul with, and it ultimately comes up empty. Basilisk being technology. The song Birth by Death is about drugs. The song This Is Goodbye is about relationships and how people ultimately fail, to fill that spot because we're human and sinful. So, I mean, yeah, Basilisk was the more implicit, like, song in that, but it definitely ties into that overall theme.
Yeah, and that's actually really cool theme, and it resonates with everybody, even the non-Christians, because you try to fill your stuff with all these things, but you get filled up through the everlasting waters of Jesus.
Ab- Absolutely. And the last couple songs on the album really tie it all together as to show like that's what this is all about.
So it's kind of like it's kind of like a walkthrough,
Yes.
and then at the end, like a big movie.
Yes, there's all these paths that don't fulfill, and then yes, there's resolution at the end.
Hey, that's getting exciting. You
I'm
know,
excited to show it to y'all.
yeah, and you said that was when August
August
29th?
29th, I
It's
believe. I
not that
think
far away.
yes, it's soon, and then excuse me, I've got some of the same allergy stuff going on. We've got a single. I don't think I can say the date quite yet, but we do have another single coming very soon.
And that runs in the veins of filling with void.
So the other single that we're coming out is more of part of that resolution. So people are able to see kind of the first song was kind of our darker side, and then this next second song was more of our more hopeful side.
Yeah.
Uh,
And with that, you know, does this album kind of resonate with your life?
it does, it does. There are pieces of it that are directly, directly reflect some of the things I've seen, like some of the things I've been through. Um, like obviously, like Birth by Death, the one with drugs is not something that I've personally encountered, but I've seen it indirectly. That song was actually the lyrics were written by a drug recovery ministry called Death by Meth. So I recommend checking them out. They're doing good work. So they reached out to us and were like, they had already written lyrics and they wanted music for it, and so we put it to a song we were already writing, and it melded so perfectly. But no, there is a lot of I've gone through stages of trying to really figure out why do I believe what I believe, and seeing all these things that people have, I've seen people fall away from the faith and try to fill that void with other things, and they don't seem happy, they don't seem satisfied, which granted happiness is not the goal of life, it's glorifying Christ. But in saying that, I mean, contentness and joy come from that. Paul was very explicit about, like, the highs and the lows, but through his faith in Christ he was able to remain stable and content. And ultimately that's what this album was about, is that the only thing that gives you that contentness is Christ.
Yeah, so ultimately to be completed is to have that relationship with Christ.
Absolutely. And yes, nothing else satisfies. So I listened to Brian Head Welch, from Korn. That was a big part of his testimony, was that he tried to fill, he lived the rock star life, and he had money, he had the drugs, he had everything that he thought would fit, fulfill, and he came up empty, through it. And once he found that relationship with Christ, it filled that void. And while I haven't lived that life that the head has seen, um I've seen pieces of it, and largely where that album comes from.
So with that, so you had your own battles,
Mhm.
which you wrote. with in some of the music. Um, what is some of the battles that you have had? Is it relationship battles? Because we all try because us humans we don't need to be alone.
For
God did not
sure. So
create us to be alone.
so the song "This Is Goodbye" deals with um, divorce, which I've been fortunate not to have experienced. I'm very happily married, but I've seen it in people close to me, and even though I was not the one in the relationship, it still affected me. And so I've been able to see that, and I've had other family members that it wasn't necessarily it wasn't about divorce, but it was about broken relationships. That yes, I have had family and things that the relationships were not ideal, and may have seemed one sided or just ultimately broken. And then the song "Where Else Should We Go" is a song about ultimately about doubt and getting over that doubt. And so there's a verse in scripture where Jesus asks the disciples, is like, "Are you guys going to leave me too?" Like, because and they're like, "No, Lord, where else should we go? Like, where else is there?" And I've had my stages of trying to figure out, is what I believe legitimate? And through all those questions, I come back to where else would I go? Like, Christ is the only thing in this world that makes any sense. And so that is a big part of the battles that I've seen that um, resonate in the album. I've had frustrations with certain aspects of the church. The song "Cope" is actually directly about Kenneth Copeland, and it's also about money and how money does not fulfill. I'm trying to think what else is the other songs on the album. Um, the song "The Abyss We Crown" is about just more or less complete selfishness and how that doesn't get you anywhere. Um, but yes, it is a very personal album. A lot of the things that are written about are things that have directly affected me or people around me.
And that right there is the recipe for uh, a great artist to go
Well,
out
thank you.
there and actually be able to write down a very good description in what he or she sees around them, and using that to articulate an album to resonate with everybody else's life and what they're feeling in their own souls is what great musicians do.
Thank you. The topics are very broad, and I'm hoping that for all metalheads out there, that there'll be at least one song that's like, "Hey, I've dealt directly with this. I'm glad somebody's listening." And then I hope that when they hear those songs, they're able to tie it back to the end and figure out that what it's really about.
Yeah, true. That is so true, and that is the final point, right? Is to get people resonating to get more close to get closer to God.
Yes,
That
yes.
is
I mean,
the ultimate goal that you're trying to achieve with this band.
absolutely. Yeah, we've got two goals: make music that people resonate to, and can give people what they call the stank face. And then but ultimately, it's to give glory to Jesus, because I mean that's what it's all about.
Amen, amen. So do you have a website that you sell merch?
Yes. Exoneration.band has some merch, and then I need to update it to show the single, because right now it just says single coming soon, so I need to update that. But yes, we do have some merch. We've got some our vocalist is actually in the process of designing some new stuff for us. um so we'll have some new stuff soon, but we do have some basic like shirts and hoodies. I think we have like a Stanley type cup. It's not a Stanley but yes, yeah, if you want to rock some Exoneration merch, it's out there now. I got a couple test ones to see how they work that came out, and the quality I'm very happy with. um I've got like an embroidered hat and a hoodie, and my wife's got a shirt. But yes, I'm happy to rep the merch.
Yeah, and it's exoneration dot band /store if you want to just go and check out the merch. But if you want to know more about it, about the band, it's exoneration.band, which is really, really cool. I'm looking at it here. I love the logo.
Oh, thanks. We had that designed. I believe it was Thermometer Arts, I think was what it was called, that did it for us. I think that was the name. It's been a little bit, and I've slept since then. So, but I'm very happy with the turnout with it. But yes, yeah, if you want to learn more about the band, you can go there. But then we've got our social media. You can follow us on Facebook. If you DM us, we will answer. I mean, we're still a smaller group, so we're able to keep up with that, and so I'm more than happy to talk with anybody about our mission and the music. Um, so yeah, follow us there. We're on TikTok, Instagram, not on Twitter or X, whatever it is now. Um, but yeah, we're happy to reach out to anybody who's interested.
And you can also listen to their um, their music on Spotify and Apple, right?
Yes, it's pretty much everywhere. I think it's on YouTube Music, Apple, Spotify. If you're over in the Europe, I think it's on Deezer. I think is what it's called. It's pretty much everywhere.
And if you want to hear Ballast on the Johnny Taco Spotlight playlist, which is on Apple and Spotify, where I go and put in music from our guests. So you can have a little exercise workout music while you're
Heck yeah.
taking a walk or, dealing with some of the customers that you have to deal with. And I know it's hard in life, and being a Christian doesn't give you a card that pushes you away from all the bad things in life. And with good Christian music playing in the background and helping you get positive about your relationship with God, it does make it a little bit better.
Absolutely.
So want to thank you, Corey, for being on the show. It is awesome. I can't wait to hear more music. That new album, you have to let me listen to that album. I have to listen to it because you just got me going about the whole, starts off dark and then the resolution at the end. So I'm
Oh
pretty
yes.
excited about it.
So I'm so excited to share it. This album's more or less started. I think the first song I started, I was still in college or high school when I first started writing it, and then up until just right near the end of the out, like of us were finishing up in around February. It's been a long time coming, and so I'm very excited to share this project with everybody. I've spent countless hours working through it, and Arnaud has been just the best. Like, huge shout out to Arnaud because I could not have done this without him. I mean, he's the other half of this project, and I'm so excited to, you know, I thank the Lord that we were able to be brought together to make this music. And so, if you're able to listen, Arnaud, I just want you to know, you're the best. So thanks. It's been a huge blessing to be able to do this and share this music with everyone.
Well, thank you again, and I pray that your ministry keeps flourishing and you keep out there making some awesome music. Keep
Well,
doing
thanks
what
so
you're doing.
much. I appreciate you so much for having me on.
All right. If you like this episode and you want to hear more, please like and subscribe to get the latest and the greatest from the Johnny Taco Show.